welcome back to At the Table. This week, we are running a little late. Sorry about that. There's been a lot going on. But we have a great haul this week.
Yeah, better late than never.
Yep, and this weekend, we had a amazing comic-related weekend.
Yeah, so stay tuned and let's talk comics.
Yeah, so welcome back to At the Table. I'm Jake.
And I'm Jason, father and son team, back at the table talking comics.
Yep, and like we said, this is a pretty good haul.
It is a good haul this week. We're sorry about being late. It has been a little crazy. Jake has taken up mountain biking and joined the local mountain bike team, so we've had lots of practices to contend with as the whole family gets back on the mountain bike. We've had a lot of other fun activities going on. But because we were so busy, we actually, with like prepping for the video and a car being in the shop and lots of other things, we don't really have a carpool pick this week, but I thought we could take a minute and talk about the awesome weekend that we had that was comic related.
So there's two things we want to go over. We're going to start with the Comic Con first, and then we'll go to the good stuff after.
Okay. So Sunday was our local Comic Con, just a small show here in Frederick, Maryland.
Yep.
We went a few months ago, maybe back in was it March maybe?
Yeah.
A few months ago was the first one they'd had in quite a while. We scored some keys.
Really good bucks.
Yeah, we got a bunch of Venom keys that were a big part of kind of getting your collection really jump-started with the Venom stuff.
Yeah, but anyway, this time we scored a few. We have two good picks, or good books that we picked up.
Including one that we found. I mean, not a super high dollar book, but
like, one you've been looking for so long.
I've been looking for. I could have ordered it online, but there's really nothing like the thrill of finding it out in the wild. So I have been hunting and hunting. You want to introduce it?
You sure you don't want to?
Nah, you can do the honors.
Dun, da, da, da. Hawkeye number 11. So if any of you don't know what this is the Matt Fraction Hawkeye number 11 with Pizza Dog. And this whole issue is about Pizza Dog.
From his point of view. I love this issue. Years ago when this first was coming out, I read it digitally. I wasn't collecting physical at the time. And that run is probably among my very favorite comic book runs ever. I love this story. I love Hawkeye. I love the entire story. I'm super excited that it seems at least some of what's coming up on the Netflix series is based on this run. And over the last, few months probably going on 6 months now, I've kind of pieced together. I'm all the way back to number 1, and this was the final issue that I was missing for this complete run. I've been looking for it for months in the wild, and finally found it at the Comic-Con. And we almost didn't go, and we'll talk about why, because we had such an amazing Saturday.
That is going to be our second, but,
it was very close. And I learned something important. Usually, I kind of made the mistake when I go to these shows, when I was looking for a specific issue, I would only stop at the bigger booths. So there's a lot of, at the local show, there's a lot of guys who have like 2 or 3 tables, a bunch of stuff up on the wall, and a bunch of short boxes. And that's where I would generally look if I was looking for something specific. But I stopped and talked to one gentleman, had just one table, a few long boxes, just some books spread out on the table, and just started flipping through by random the short boxes that he had. And lo and behold, this copy. It made my day because we had already been hunting for a while, hadn't found it, didn't think I was going to find it. So, got to dig. So that's a lesson learned. You got to dig for the good stuff.
Yep.
So let's talk about, you also scored something pretty cool.
So this is Amazing Spider-Man 344. If any of you Spider-Man fans, you might know this book. Symbiote related too. This is the first appearance of Cletus Cassidy, Carnage's host. Yep.
So we picked up for a while ago. We have a graded copy of at least the second printing of the first Carnage appearance. So, and we'll get into in a little bit. We are starting to expand the Symbiote collection out into Carnage and some other stuff for a very good reason.
Yep.
So, do you want to talk about, I guess to wrap up the comic show, we had a great time. The comic shows are coming back. If there's one in your area, get out. It's so great to be out and among other comic fans, just hanging out, digging through short boxes or long boxes, and then just being out and among other comic fans, seeing the cosplayers. It's just an all-around great time. I'm really glad that we didn't skip it. Obviously, we got 2 great books, and better than that, we had a great time. We took your sister and her friend and our buddy Mickey, and we made kind of a morning of it. I highly recommend that if you haven't done it, get out there and check out your local comic shows.
Yep. Okay, so let's talk about our second really, really amazing find.
The highlight of the weekend, probably.
Okay, so basically we were doing some mountain bike stuff. We did some trail work.
Yeah, we were up in Emmitsburg, Maryland, which is kind of north of us here in Frederick. in a smaller town called Emmitsburg. And we were there primarily for some trail work.
Yep, but a new comic store had just opened up.
Very lucky.
So we go ahead, we do our trail work, all that stuff, and we go over to the comic shop because it was like very, very close.
Well, it gets even better. We went trail work, then we went to the new awesome ice cream shop in Emmitsburg, and then we went over to the comic shop. Now, I had seen on Facebook that I think I had saw the post, maybe already liked their page, so I knew it was coming.
Yep.
But it turned out it was their grand opening weekend.
Yep, the store is called Wookie Walkers.
Cool name. Addison, my daughter, loves Chewbacca. She was immediately sold as soon as she heard the name.
So essentially, we go in there and we start flipping through short boxes.
Let's talk back up a little bit. It was a festive day, so it was really cool. They had some cosplayers in there.
They had a Black Widow.
Black Widow and Spider-Man, who were great.
Got cotton candy, some other cool stuff.
Yep, Oliver got to see, Oliver being Jake's little brother, loves Spider-Man, so we got to see Spider-Man. That was really cool. Black Widow. They had cotton candy. They were having a fun party to celebrate their opening. It was definitely done upright.
It was just like a really cool chill shop. I mean, I saw kids on the floor playing Pokemon. There was a ton of fun people.
Yeah, it really felt welcoming. I love that vibe that we got from that shop. But tell the story about. I mean, we went in there not really expecting anything. We just loved checking out other shops.
I thought if we're lucky, we might get the pizza dog because this was before the Comic-Con.
Yeah, it was before Comic-Con. We were figuring absolutely, maybe if we get lucky, we'll find our pizza dog issue or something else just fun, or even something just little there just to support a new shop in the area.
Yep. Okay, so we go flipping through the short boxes. They have a good bit. For like a new shop, they got a good bit of short boxes.
And there was definitely some fun stuff. Very fair prices. Some stuff in great condition. We'll definitely have to go back and look, but nothing ultimately that like we had to have that day from the short box sticking, right?
Yes.
So what happens next?
They had this little place in the corner. It was about like that. It was in a square right in the corner where the cashier and that stuff was, and they had 2 glass cabinets. So there were stacks of comics, and it was like this. So there was a comic on top, and then there was a comic under it. And I spotted, if you know the cover when we're about to talk about it, it's very distinct on the bottom. So I spotted the cover. This is Amazing Spider-Man 316.
316. You maybe had a ½ inch of the bottom of the cover that you were able to see that and identify that book.
Yes, so I know because Spider-Man in that, it's very distinct. He's over, and then Venom's on top of him, and it's a purple cover and all that. So I saw him down, and I pointed out. Yeah, so they got it out of the case, and we went ahead and looked at the 316. It was in really good condition. It was
very clean.
We're getting it pressed from our buddy. And when we get it pressed, we're hoping that we can get a 9/8.
We've already handed it off to our good buddy Mickey, who, being the good friend that he is, he offers to, if we have anything special out, he's pretty good with the comic press. So we don't do it often because we don't typically send our books away to be graded to try to get the most value out of it. But for special books, we love to have them pressed just so they present as well as they can. So we've already handed it off to our buddy Mickey, who's going to be pressing it for us. I think we've got a strong 9/6, maybe a 9/8 candidate after he's done.
Yep. Okay, so anyway, we look at the copy. It was really good. And the price was really fair. It was like under what eBay prices would have been.
Yeah, it was well under eBay prices. Now, the last time that we went to the Frederick Comic-Con, we passed on one of these. Yep. It wasn't even in as good a shape as this one, and it was more expensive. And this book's been hot lately. It's been spiking.
For sure.
So really clean book, and on top of already like a fair price, what absolutely sealed the deal and had me throwing my wallet across the counter is they were having an amazing sale. It was 30% off. Yeah. So it's awesome that a shop would give 30. It's a hot book already at a fair price, and then the extra discount on that just sealed the deal. There was no way we could leave there without that book, and it was just a great experience overall. And then just kind of still hanging around the shop, I definitely got the vibe that the folks there were excited to see that book go to someone like Jake, who's a huge Venom fan, someone who got to find that last book for a key run that he's been looking for. That pretty much completes our key Venom run. We've got our 300. We've got both first appearances, depending on your point of view of the black suit. First Eddie Brock. That was the last key Venom book that we really needed. So we absolutely completed it.
Yeah, and again, really thank you for this comic shop.
Yeah, absolutely. If you are in the Emmitsburg area, check it out. It is Wookie Walkers. Tell them Jason and Jake sent you. It is a really fun, great vibe of shop. In addition, they seem to be right up our alley. They had I saw a bunch of D&D stuff on the wall. I think I saw some board games, some card games, definitely all the stuff that we love. So anytime we're in there, we're going to be up in the Emmitsburg area again soon for one of your mountain bike races and some more training. So anytime we're up there, we're going to check it out.
Yeah,
it'll be
sure.
trail rides, ice cream, comic books. I can't really think of a better trio. So, yep, no carpool pick this week, but that is our really cool story. It's really fun to get to share a really positive, awesome experience with a local shop. So we look forward to doing more of that.
Yeah, so let's get in with our variants.
Okay. Why don't you start? We don't have a ton.
No.
But we do have some good ones.
Yeah, let's go ahead and start. I actually really like this cover. I don't know where you sit on this cover, but I think it's a good looking cover.
I do. It's my favorite of the Spidey 80th, and that is
the Cap 80th.
The Cap 80th. Thank you. Always there to correct me. I think this is Coelho did the cover for this. I really like it. Of the Cap covers that we got a few last week. I think I really like this one.
I think this is my favorite.
Absolutely. Probably, which is saying something because you don't like the Clone Run. We'll probably talk about that, but you do love that cover.
It's coming to an end. Okay, so we're going to start with the Phage variants. Extreme Carnage, Part 3 of 8, Phage.
And I didn't realize it, but I'm pretty sure that's a 1 in 10, and I think it's Nakayama is the artist on that. Symbiote book, I thought it was pretty cool. So we weren't super deep on variants this week, so that one went into the pile. And you weren't able to be there for this week's pickup because you were at mountain bike practice. So I had to throw some extra cool stuff in there for you to make up for it.
Okay, so this is another Phage, Part 3 of 8, Extreme Carnage. This is the Scotty Young. I really love this cover. It's hilarious.
And it's one of your favorites. You love the Scotty Youngs that actually have the comic dialogue and the jokes in them.
Yes.
I think those are your absolute favorites. So Symbiote and the funny joke, it's a double win.
Oh, for sure. Okay, so next up we have another Scotty Young. This is Gamma Flight. This is another hilarious cover with words.
It's really hilarious, and your sister probably likes that one because there's a banana reference in it.
Yep.
So more fun Scotty Young covers. I know they're not everyone's thing, but we really enjoy collecting them as father and son.
Let's get in with another Scotty Young cover. There's a lot of Scotty Young covers.
You know, that one is simple, but I really like it.
It's a good cover. This is the Moon Knight #1 Scotty Young cover.
So a pretty cool book. I'm excited to read Moon Knight and a cool Scotty Young cover on top of it.
Yep. So let's talk about this. I'm going to be honest. This Guardians of the Galaxy #16 is one of my favorite covers out of the anime covers. This is the Groot. It is one of the anime covers, but it is Groot. I really love this cover.
I'm going to go so far as to say it may be one of my favorite Peach covers ever.
Yeah.
I know we've joked about it. We initially weren't huge fans.
Mm-hmm.
But lately, in this series and some other stuff that she's done, it just really clicks with us for some reason. So I'm enjoying picking these up. I think they're an awesome cover series.
I think in terms of this cover, it's not my favorite anime, but it's not bad either.
No, it's not bad. I like it. I like the colors.
I do too.
The colors pop, and it's, again, maybe it's just that I'm not a huge Captain Marvel fan these days, but I really like this cover.
I do too.
So, I mean, I think the Groot is a stronger cover, but that is still fun.
Yep. Okay, so we talked about our variants. You want to talk about our picks?
You know what? We need to dip back and talk about our favorite books from last week just for a quick second, because we actually skipped that and all the excitement talking about our great weekend of finds. So, do you remember what your favorite pick is?
Yes. So, I know this is going to be a shocker, totally. Extreme Carnage Part 2 of 8. This is the Scream. Scream is one of my favorite symbiotes. Let's see, it's probably 2 or 3 on the list out of symbiotes.
You really like Scream ever since she showed up in one of the King in Black kind of one the spin-off side things. So I think that would have been the first that we had read of her, and then you liked her so much that we
got her first appearance, and we got her first appearance signed as well.
Yeah, we've tracked down a bunch of probably outside of Venom and maybe Thompson, Agent Venom. It's probably Scream might be your second favorite. It's definitely
close with both, but that's good.
So it's a good book, lots of action. Are we continuing the storyline of kind of everyone rallying up the anti-alien, anti-symbiote?
Yeah.
It's a interesting story and a sad parallel to some of the stuff that's going on in real life with the whole thing about these politicians stoking the fire against the aliens. So yeah, it's a good story. It's fun. I love Scream. The ending, it was a cliffhanger. that ending of that book. Yeah. Good pick, though. I'm going to go with, believe it or not, I'm picking a DC book for my favorite read from last week. I read some good stuff, and I'm going with the Joker. This series is just, and I can't believe I'm going to say it, because I was not excited about this series initially at all, because it's not like I'm a huge Joker fan, but the dynamic that it's exploring, and it's almost more about Gordon than it is the Joker. And explaining, I don't even know. And it really surprised me because the Joker series wasn't even a series that, I mean, it was on my radar, but nothing I was looking forward to super reading. In fact, I even sat out. I think I might have bought it, but then I wasn't super quick to read it. And
yeah, I feel like you made fun of it.
I kind of wasn't, I don't know, it's just, but ultimately I heard that there was this, basically it's a Jim Gordon story, and as much as it is a Joker story, and learning about their connection and just what the toll of all the stuff that Gordon's gone through has taken on him. It's a really good story. It's not exactly fun. It's not bright or anything, but it's a really interesting story, and I've enjoyed it. Every issue, it hasn't let me down, so that's my favorite from last week.
Yeah, that's a good pick. So, you want to talk about our favorites from this week?
Yeah, why don't you go first?
Okay, I'm actually going to talk about, I'll go with this one. This is the Thor Annual #1. So, here, you can go ahead and show that. To start, this book has the Infinite Destinies in it, which ended on a cliffhanger.
You're really digging that mini, aren't you?
It's good.
So, tell us a little bit about why you're into this book.
First off, the last Thor was really good. The last Thor that Donny Cates wrote. But this, I'm excited. I'm starting to like Thor again. Finally came back with him, and I'm excited to see how this goes. Plus, no matter what, I got the Infinite Destinies.
This chronologically, is this taking place right after the last issue of Thor that we read, or is this kind of side thing, or?
I don't know.
Well, we'll have to dig in and find out.
Yep.
So yeah, Thor's back on our radar, which is good because I think Beta Ray Bill is wrapping up.
Yep.
So we will have to get our Thor fix elsewhere and go back to the original. So I'm going to pick a series that initially, I've admitted I was slow to jump in. Like the first issue did not grab me, but by issue 3, I've been absolutely hooked. And that is Radiant Black #6. This has just been a surprisingly fun, and I really want to get you on the reading this book because I think you would really like it. But this is a great superhero story. There's been some big changes over the last few issues, and some other folks showed up in the last issue, and I think we may finally get to find out a little bit about who was in the red suit if you're following the series. Great series. If you're not on it, highly recommend it. It shouldn't be that hard to find. So I know they did multiple printings of this. You should be able to find it and catch up.
Okay, so let's talk about my second. I'm going to save this one for last. Let's talk about Reptile #3. Reptile has been amazing. I really dig the character. I found him first in a King in Black. It was the Amazing Spider-Man King in Black tie-in. He made an appearance. He was really cool in the story. So I picked this up. I've started reading it. It's been really good. I don't want to spoil it much. Definitely read it, though.
It's a little bit lighter than some of the other stuff we're reading, right? So it's a good kind of change of pace, and definitely I think a good parent-kid read.
Yeah, for sure.
Actually, probably one of the better on current. I don't know how much longer this one's running, but probably one of the better current Marvel books. That's a good parent-kid read.
Yep.
So good pick. I'm looking forward to reading that too.
You want to go with your next?
Yeah, another book that I just realized. I think I am all one publisher this time. I think.
Dang. Oh, yeah, no, you're right.
It is the triple play. I'm going with Shadecraft #5. This series has knocked my socks off since the first issue. It's rare to like really get me hooked. One of the only other series that's done that recently, especially with an indie book, is my last pick. But we made some interesting. We learned more about our main character, her family, and just when we thought we were going to resolve the issue with her brother, things took another turn and got even worse, and we left it on kind of a cliffhanger. I don't want to go into spoilers because this is an absolutely fantastic book. Definitely worth checking out. If you have to, I imagine we'll probably be wrapping up an arc pretty soon, so you could always trade weight it, but this is a great read.
You know what I just realized?
What?
I'm also a triple publisher. Triple publisher. What a shock.
Yeah, but you're always a Marvel dude.
I am. Okay, so next up, I know this one's also going to be a shocker. Extreme Carnage, Part 3 of 8, Phage. Blah, blah, blah. This character is really good. I read this. It was a really good story. It ties in with the other two. It's not just a solo. Really enjoyed this. The start was good, and the ending was definitely a big cliffhanger as well.
Yeah, if you're not familiar with Carnage, this series so far has been a great reminder just how horrible Carnage is.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking forward to seeing how the life symbiotes kind of how they shake out of this because they're a cool group. We both really like those symbiotes.
Yep.
So great pick, and I feel like that's not been a huge series necessarily getting a ton of attention, but it's been really good so far.
Yeah.
So my last issue. For my picks, the stuff I'm really looking forward to reading this week, I'm going with Homesick Pilots number 7. Now, I will admit, when this book took it took a weird left turn at some point and wasn't exactly, I thought really it was going to go off the rails from kind of what I really liked about the early issues. I don't want to spoil it because it's a big surprise and things kind of went a weird way. But surprisingly, I've continued to enjoy this book just as much as the early issues. So this is whenever comes up during the week, I usually make sure I read it. It's going to be the top of the list for this week.
Give me a minute. I'm checking to see if there's any books that I actually know of.
There are some books in there that you know of.
Yeah, but none that I'm really excited about. Okay, you can get started.
Well, you got some there.
Let's start with this one that I'm actually really happy about.
You're only happy about it because it's ending. So to back up, we're done with our favorite picks. We're getting into the rest of our normal.
Yep.
Haul. This is going to be kind of an interesting show. We're all over the place this week.
Miles Morales, Spider-Man.
Yeah, you're just happy because the Clone Saga seems to be wrapping up.
No.
I haven't seen you dislike a book. Whatever it was, you did not react well to this run. You immediately read the first issue and you were done. You just put it down, which is rare for a Marvel book. You were just like,
boring. Done. It's the same as the other.
Excuse me. I don't know. I don't hate it. I do think that Miles deserves better than just rehashing these clone stories. And I don't know. Maybe we're going right from lots of symbiote stuff to lots of clone stuff because Ben's back in the main Spider-Man. So I don't know. I don't hate. It's not my favorite book, but it's been at least fun. I've really enjoyed the spots where Peter has crossed over, and there's kind of been some meta moments of him telling Miles how to deal with basically a bunch of evil clones. But that was in some of the earlier issues. I don't know. It's not the worst book by far I'm reading, which I guess is a stellar review. It's not terrible.
Silver City number 3, Aftershock.
Yep, this is one that I am just kind of piling up, and I'm going to read it when it's done, but I've heard good things. This is the book that I believe is about these characters that are in kind of a purgatory-like city. One of them trying to solve their own murder, and just a cast of characters. It sounded like an interesting setting, and I like Aftershock.
I don't know what's the title for this.
There's
so many different things.
Marjorie Finnegan, Temporal Criminal. I'm not sure this one would be appropriate for you, even if you were reading it. It might be a little grown up, but I think I'm current on this one. I feel like it has been a little while since I read the last one, but I enjoyed this main character's kind of hijinks and the whole premise of the heist and this weird cast of characters through time. So it's been a fun book so far. I'm keeping it on the list. The Many Deaths of Layla Starr. Now, I'll admit I put this on the pull list because of a recommendation from a friend. I haven't gotten around to it yet, but I'm assured that it's a great read. I'm sure it will be. I trust them. So at some point I'll catch up, and we will be current on that. Hopefully before it's done.
So next up we have Murder Hobo Chaotic Neutral.
These books don't come out super often, but man, I like them when they do. And this warning... although we are largely a father-son show and definitely father-son reading, this is not a kid-friendly book. But if you have kind of a twisted sense of humor and like D&D and like poking fun at some of the worst tropes in D&D and the whole murder hobo thing, this is a hilarious book if you're into that type of humor. I am. It's pretty funny. So I've continued to pick it up and I've enjoyed it. Definitely won't let Jake read it, not for a very long time, but it's made me laugh every time I've read these books.
Next up, Skybound number 3.
Yep, and sadly, I still haven't read Skybound 1 or 2, but this one's coming out every week for the next little bit. It's got a mixture of short stories. I'll catch up on it, and I think it's going to be, given the format, I am sure there are going to be stories in here that I really enjoy.
Next up, Save Yourself, Boombox number 2.
That's another one that I picked up. I think we talked about issue 1 a while back. I haven't. It's still on the list. I'm thinking this might be something that I read with Addison. I think this might be the story where the girl basically learns that the heroes weren't all that she thought they were. It's that type of story. And I think that being a boombox, it's kid-friendly in print. So I've been picking up a lot of the boomboxes in hope that either Jake or Addison will read them with me.
Project Patron number 4.
This is another book I like the concept of. I like the idea of basically a bunch of people having to fake being a superhero after they disappeared, piloting this mech thing. That was the solicit early on. I'm not sure where this book has gone. I've fallen behind. I'm looking forward to catching up on it, though, at some point. I'm terrible about falling behind, especially with all that we've had going on lately.
Next up, Proctor Valley Road number 5.
Yep, another book that I think you and I are just going to sit down and read. I originally picked this up. This is just the regular Boom imprint. This is the book that had kind of a Scooby-Doo vibe to me, with a group of younger characters kind of solving mysteries. So we're going to jump on this, and we'll probably just read this one together.
Next up, Nottingham number 5.
I am current on this book. This is a weird... It's kind of a different take on the whole Robin Hood story. It's basically told from the perspective of, not that the sheriff's a good guy, but he's at least law enforcement, and Robin Hood is a terrorist, and these people are doing terrible things as terrorists. I'm not really sure who to root for in this book. It's been, I think I've seen the prices go. I'm not sure. I don't know if it got optioned or why, but I've seen the prices go up on some of the early issues. I'm so on it. It's interesting. It's not my favorite book, but I came this far with it, so I figured I'd go ahead and finish it out.
Stake number 5.
Yep, another book that I need to catch up on. I read the first issue, enjoyed it, and I've fallen behind. I have to binge and catch up on that one.
Star Wars The High Republic Adventures number 6.
Yep, I know these aren't the best Star Wars books, but I need my fix of Star Wars now that The Mandalorian's over, and I've been reading it since the beginning, so I'm sticking with it.
Next up, Time Before Time number 3.
Yep. You actually might like this book, and this is not... I don't think there's anything in this book that keeps you from being able to read it. I am current on this. That tells you how good it is, because I've been terrible lately about staying current. But this has been a really enjoyable time travel story. I'm hit or miss on those, but I really like one. Went a different direction. I love this whole kind of scenario of the black market of shuttling people back in time to avoid the terrible time period that they're in. Issue 1 took that interesting turn with one of the characters. 2 introduced someone new, and 3, I'm guessing this continues the story. I'm really looking forward to seeing where this goes. It's been a really fun book so far.
Undiscovered Country number 14.
And I am current on this one. I really like this series. I like that it's not at all what I expected once I got into it from reading one, but I've been reading since issue 1. I jumped on it sometime. I think it was our buddy Chandler who turned me onto this one. We're in a different zone of the area of what used to be the U.S. that these main characters are traveling through. And I think it's the zone of possibility. And they're having to... They're entering an area where basically the creators were living at one point. So all these creators' characters have run amok, and they're dealing with that, and they're trying to find their way onto the next zone as they walk the spiral. This is a great story. It's a little out there, but I really have enjoyed it.
The Walking Dead number 19.
Yep. This is just the deluxe reissue. I've mentioned it a couple times. I'm still catching up on this, but I never read it the first time around, so this is my chance to kind of catch up.
Destiny in New York number 5.
Yep, this is another one. I think this is just a mini, so it's probably going to be wrapping up. But I really love the premise. I liked the first issue. I have unfortunately fallen behind with all the other stuff. So I will read this, and at some point we're just going to have to do a show where we talk about some of the series that we caught up on and what we thought of the series overall.
Next up, Moon Knight number 1.
How are you feeling about this book? Moon Knight's getting a lot of hype lately. We've got a show coming up for Moon Knight in the future. So I've not really read much of Moon Knight. Even in any of the time periods that I was in and out of comics, this character was never really on my radar.
So how I feel about this is, you know me pretty well, so you're going to read it. And then if you think that it's good, then I'll read it.
You're not going to take a chance. You want to read it first?
Oh, no, I'll let you read it first.
Well, I will happily read it, and then we will decide. And you know what? I'm going to make a vow. If I don't like it, maybe I'll actually take it off the list. I'm hoping I do, because I'm not like the Marvel books. I know I need
That's
some more.
Never happened before.
I need some new stuff in Marvel that can get me excited.
Ascender number 17.
Now, this is a pickup for Jake's mom. My wife has been reading this story. She loves. We both really like Jeff Lemire. He's probably our shared favorite comic writer at this point. Although I do think she likes Chip too. But she's read Descender. Now she's reading Ascender, and I will catch up at some point. I have the graphic novels for a bunch of that, and then we picked up the issues when they started again.
The Flash 772.
We need to catch up on the Flash because I feel like this has been some good stuff in DC. We've been reading a bunch of other, and we like everything else DC. As I understand it, poor Wally is finally kind of getting a fresh start. I know some folks are Team Wally, some are Team Barry. I think you and I trend more Barry just because we were huge TV Barry Allen fans, but Wally's pretty cool too. So I want to check this one out and see everything that we've been reading DC when we take the time. We love the new stuff.
Yep, Alien number 5.
I think this is getting close to the end to this. I'm current on this one. It's been okay. It's been different enough that I've stayed current with it. They're quick, easy reads. Not my favorite book, but Aliens, it's kind of fun to be back in that world. They've got another Alien series starting up, so it seems like Disney/Marvel is intent to do something with this franchise. I'm eager to see where it kind of goes as a whole.
Okay, so for our last book of the night, Black Hammer Reborn number 2.
This is another one of the few floppies that your mom will read. She usually trade weights, but she really likes Black Hammer, so no surprise there. So I am woefully behind. Luckily, we have some trades, so I'm just going to make a weekend of it at some point and catch up on Black Hammer. Not entirely sure if you can read it or not, but we will go through, and maybe it'll be, if you can, it'll be one of the few books that all three of us have read.
Yeah.
So that's it for the regular haul. Some good books.
Yep.
And some great stories from the weekend. I think that was my favorite part, is as many cool books as we got this week. I think the best part about our week this week in comics was our trip to Wookiee Walkers.
Yeah.
And obviously our trip to the comic show. The trip to Wookiee Walkers was so good that we almost didn't even bother
going to the comic show.
I'm glad we did, because that it finally let me complete my Hawkeye run. And as you know, you were the first of us to complete a major run when you completed your Venom run. It feels so good to actually track down that last book that you need in the series, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And there's nothing like finding it in the wild. So thanks to the folks over at their new shop, Wookiee Walkers, up in Emmitsburg. Thanks to our buddies at Brainstorm, who are our normal local shop here in Frederick. John always takes care of us, makes sure we get the books that we want to read and talk to you guys about. So make sure you support your local comic shop. Get out and find some. If you're not already reading, there's never been a better time to be a comic book fan, has there?
Yep.
So we've got some other stuff coming soon. We've got some videos, some D&D content coming. We still need to do the Lego content that we've been working on. We will get settled into this new, kind of the new stuff going on with your mountain bike practice and stuff, and we'll get back on track on a timely schedule next week.
Yeah, so it's been a really good week. A lot of good stuff have happened, for us at least.
Yeah, we had a heck of a weekend.
Yeah, so let's wrap this thing up. So if you've been enjoying the content, like this video, especially if you like this video, comment what books you think we're missing. We could always use another book.
Yeah, always, especially if you think it's something that could be a great father-son read. Even if you think it's something that's not current, that you haven't heard us talk about, that we really should go back and check, point it our way, and we'll talk about it in a future episode. We definitely enjoy sharing books that we enjoy as father and son, and part of the reason we do this is to try to encourage other families to read together.
Yep, and subscribe and hit the notification bell. When you hit the notification bell, you'll be notified whenever we post. We post at least once a week. We try to do twice or more. D&D content coming out soon.
Yep, lots of good stuff. So, as always, thanks for watching. We really appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon.